that I have put burlap 10-inch deco mesh around. And I have done 10-inch poofs on each tie. And I am on the third level, and we're going to finish this one up. Okay? So I'm going to pull you down and let's get started. I hope everybody's having a great day. Here we go. Let's see. Hang on one second. Let me look and see. Yes, there it is. I wanted to make sure my volume was working, which it is. Okay, awesome. Here we go. All right, so like I said, I am using 10-inch burlap deco mesh, and I have put 10-inch poofs on each tie. I have done one on the upper level, and I'm going to do one on the bottom level. I've already done one on the bottom level, I'm sorry. And then now what I'm doing is I'm just going in to each tie in between the levels, and I am putting a third level a third row in between them. This helps cover the two rings, metal rings or forms that are there. I'll show you. See right here, see how you can see that? If you go in and put a third layer in between the two layers, it just helps cover the base up, which is what I'm doing. Let me bring you in a little bit closer so you can see. All right. I'm not really measuring this one. I'm just making sure that I am covering up the metal frame. It blends real nicely. Sometimes these ties are a little uneven, and it also helps with the coverage of that also. I hope everyone's having a great day, and your weather where you're at is good. I'm located in North Carolina, and we are having a pretty good day today. It's in the mid-50s, and we'll be warming up the next day or two. Almost finished here. Do you enjoy doing deco mesh or grapevine? What kind of base do you enjoy using most? Yeah, so we are at the end. I'm just untwisting it and then going in and putting this on the top layer right here. Now, what I do is I will cut about 5 or 6 inches off the base, and then I will either tuck it in to one of the poofs, or I will tuck it in the frame. Hang on, I'll show you. And I will take a zip tie. I'll fold this up right here. I will take a zip tie and I will zip tie this to the frame. It just gives a little bit more finished look to it. We're going to cut this off. I'm going to trim this down a little bit more, and there you go. See that right there? Like I said, it just gives a little bit more finished look to it. Okay, now we have our base done. The next thing I'm going to do is put our ribbon in. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the ribbon and why I chose it. So I have these two ribbons that go together. And I have these two ribbons that go together. And I want to show you my sign and give you my thinking behind it. Okay, so here's my sign. And of course, naturally, our colors are going to be black, white, and yellow. And this yellow is not a bright yellow. It is more of a musty looking color. I'll show you right here. See? And then I want you to notice the little dots around here. They're little slashes and then little dots. And to me, that reminded me of check. And so I am mimicking, what I'm trying to mimic right here with this is what's in the sign. I'm trying to pull that out. Then we have the bee kind of whirlwind, like he's in flight. This bee ribbon right here, it matches perfectly with the little border that I have here, as well as the color. See the color? It's a kind of a mustard color, yellow. So that matches real well. And then I've got this yellow and white, which naturally are the colors in the sign, but I'm also kind of coordinating my two checks together. And then I have the black and yellow stripe, and that matches the bee in the sign. I'll show you. See that right there? So it's really nice when you can coordinate your ribbons in more than one way. Color is pretty important. I would say it's the first and most important thing about wreath designs. But then when you can pull more things in together with it, it works really well. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go around and I'm going to put these ribbon tails in. And all you do is you just put one. I have a 2.5 inch and a 1.5 inch. And I'm just going to lay them on top of each other. I'm going to divide it in half. I'm going to pinch it together. And I'm just going to start placing. I alternate mine back and forth. You don't have to if you don't want to. And then you basically just make a little X with it. That's what Julie teaches. We make a little X with it. Then I take my next two coordinating ribbons, which is a 2.5 inch and a 1.5 inch. Lay them on top of each other, fold it together, and pinch. You can do your ribbon tails all the same. You can do them with just 2 ribbon. You can do them with just 3 ribbons. It really doesn't matter. Now, I'll tell you another little trick here. Let me show you. So the ribbon tails, what you want to do with the ribbon tails when you make your X is, let me pull you in a little bit closer so you can see. So I have a 2.5 inch and a 1.5 inch. And I have another 2.5 inch and 1.5 inch. And one of the ways that you can help them lay properly or lay in a really nice way for your viewer who is seeing your wreath to look is to try to make sure, see, if I took this 2.5 inch and put it up against that 2.5 inch, I'd lose what this ribbon looks like. So I want to make sure that they're side by side and that you can see the other 1.5 inches as well. I'm not sure if anybody has any questions because I can't see the comments at the moment, but it's all good. If you have questions, you can certainly put them in the comments and I will go back in and answer them. Anyway, so let's keep going. I have cut these 13 inches. I normally do 13. I don't do 14. 12 is a little too short. 13 for me personally just seems like a really nice measurement. And I have used my ribbon tail board, which is this board right here. You can see it has 13 and 14, and then I have another board that has 11 and 12 on it. This comes from a lady called Hot Mesh Mom. You can find her on Etsy, I know. But anyway, I have used 13 inches, and I have cut 9 of each one. So we're just going to keep going around. Deco mesh wreaths are pretty easy to do. They are a little bit more time consuming. But that's okay, especially when you're going to make a really pretty design, right? Make sure you put them in the X shape. Now this twist tie is shorter than this. I mean, the spacing is shorter than this, but don't worry about that. That's okay. Let's just keep going. I always start on the top layer or the top ring of the wreath work form and then go down. To me, it's easier to see where my ribbon tails end up. And you're making an X. See that? All right. Just about finished with the top ring. We have a lot of fun in Julie's Wreath of the Month Club. I teach tutorials on Wednesday nights, and the one thing I teach is how to make simple designs that you can purchase locally. You know, there's some people who aren't able to go and purchase wholesale and purchase online, so I teach simple recipes for those that shop locally. All right, there's our top layer. Let's just keep going. I'm going to drop down to the lower level. I'll show you here in just a second. See how I've dropped down to the lower level? And we're just going to keep right on doing the same thing. Once we get our base done, that's when the fun starts. Not that this isn't fun, that's not what I mean. You just really get to be a little creative. Deco mesh holds up really well in the weather and outdoors. And it can last for quite a while. I have some Deco mesh wreaths that I have done in the past that are probably 6 or 7 years old. I normally don't do Deco mesh these days. I do more of the floral design and grapevine, but I still enjoy it. They make really pretty full wreaths, don't they? Let's see, we're getting there, we're getting there. Just about finished. I love the lime green contrast right here in the ties that are on the wreath work form. You could use yellow, you could use a burlap or tan looking color. I just like the contrast. I think it adds a little bit more interest. Of course, naturally, you wouldn't want to do red or anything. I just think the green gives it a good little contrast. Okay, one more, and we are done with this part. We have got our base built. All right. There you go. Very pretty. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our sign on before we bring it up onto the easel. And this is the sign. And I like to have my wreaths, I mean, there's nothing wrong with putting a sign straight, but I always like mine a little offset. And so this is where I think I'm going to put mine. I just need to figure out where I want to put it in, and I think this right here is where I'm going to put it in. Now, I have a twist tie here and a twist tie here, and that's where I'm going to wire it in to the base. It's right by these twist ties. Now, I have a, it's a jewel. You can find these in the jewelry section at your local craft stores or Walmart, that kind of thing. And so I am just going to punch 2 little holes into it on each side. Just like that, see? See where I've punched the holes at? Right here. And I'm going to get 2 wires, florist wires. Let's see, what color do I want to use? I think I'll just use green. And I'm going to feed this through. And I'm going to feed it down to the base. Make sure I've got it through there. And down through the other side of the base. There you go. Got it. I'm going to make sure I am on the wire or the metal ring, and I'm going to wire this down. Now, I'm not tugging and pulling it down to where it goes way down in there. I don't want to do that. I want it to sit up just a little bit. This might be a little too tight. Let me give it a little bit of cushion. You don't want your signs to sink down into your designs. Therefore, people can't see them. However, you want to make sure that they are secure enough to where they're not going anywhere. There you go. That will be better. And I just twist my wire out to about 1 inch, and then I will finish it off, clean it up. I'm going to move some of my stuff, and we're going to do the other side. Again, I'm going through the hole that I punched, making sure that it is on one side of the metal ring or the metal frame. And then I'm going to come around here and I'm putting the other one right through the other side of the metal ring. And I am twisting. There's nothing worse than thinking that it's twisted in and you haven't twisted or attached it to the metal ring. So that's why I always look. Okay. And there we go. There it is. Now let me get my ribbon tails adjusted and I will bring you back up. Let me pull you back up. There we go. Okay. Can you see that? Let me get you in a little closer. There you go. All right, now I need to make things right. And you just want to adjust your ribbon tails. The way you adjust them is you want to make sure that they're facing forward. And they're where they need to be. This might take a few minutes, but it certainly is worth it, that's for sure. There you go. You can see my sign. My ribbon tails are standing up where they need to be. Now, naturally, if you've been making wreaths for a while, you know that you will continually go in and adjust ribbon tails. It just comes with the territory. But, yeah, if you can get them in the place that you want them, it helps while you're designing. All right, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to make a bow, and I want to put a bow right here. Okay, so let's make a bow real quick. The ribbon that I have chosen are these three. I'm still sticking with my check. I have a I have the yellow kind of bee swirl that goes on, and I have a black and white 7/8 inch polka dot, black polka dot. So I'm going to clear this off, and we are going to make a very simple bow, really pretty. I make my bows the same way Julie does. That's what I teach. So let me bring you down one more time, just a little bit. And I'm working with a really pretty silk gingham. It has a yellow edge on it. I think it will be really pretty on this design. But I'm going to do an 8-inch tail. And I'll tell you the reason why I did not use this ribbon in the actual ribbon tails is this ribbon has a tendency, although it's very pretty, is to fray on the end. See that right there? And so you have to turn the edges over. In fact, I'll show you. You can turn the, excuse me, you can turn the edges over. Just like this right here. And it makes a pretty end. But I couldn't do that on all these ribbon tails. So, all right, I'm going to do an 8-inch loop. I mean an 8-inch tail. Okay. And I'm going to pinch it. Okay. And then I'm going to measure out 12 inches. Now, I'm measuring out 12 inches. And I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to pinch it in behind where the top of the ribbon is. There's my first loop. Now, if you are working on a easy bow maker, this right here would be a 6-inch loop. Okay? But I tie my bows by hand most of the time, and this is the way I've learned from Julie. So I'm going to measure out another 12 inches, and I'm going to bring it to the back, and I'm going to tuck it in. Okay? So there's my fingers. I'm just holding it with my 2 fingers, and I'm going to twist. Twisting is important because it helps the ribbon bow, the loops to stand up. All right, so here's my first one. The second one I'm going to do is this 1.5 inch. I'm going to do about an 8-inch tail also. I'm going to come in here, and I'm just pinching right beside it. I'm going to measure out 12 inches. Bring it to the back, pinch in again. See? And I'm going to twist. We're going to do that one more time, 12 inches. And I'm going to twist. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this loop up, and I'm going to bring it to the other side. Let me cut my tail off. So now my tails, I want my tails to go in the back. So now I basically have an X. Or some people call this a bow tie, right? No, this is the X, I'm sorry. So I have them across from each other, okay? The last one I'm gonna do is this little teeny, really pretty black and white. I'm gonna do 8 inches, feed that in. This one I'm gonna do 10 inches because this is my top one. This is gonna be my top loop. I'm measuring out 10 more inches. And I'm twisting. The way you can check to see if your loops are the same are to hold your 2 fingers up. This loop feels like it's just a little bigger than the other one, so I'm going to pull it down just a little bit. Just a little bit more. All right, I'm good to go. Now what I'm going to do, let me get me another wire, florist wire, is I'm not holding this tightly. This is not cramping my hand yet or anything. These ribbons they've been pushed to the back, and I'm just holding my 2 fingers right here around it. All right, I'm going to flip it over like I'm checking my watch, which is what Julie teaches us. I'm going to lift my pointer finger up, and I'm going to take this wire and I'm going to wrap it around the bow. Okay? And I'm going to make sure that I have my loops and my tails where I want them. To get this tail this way. I am going to pull these 2 wires away from me. I'm pulling them tightly away from me. At the same time, I have my hand that I am holding the bow with pulling towards me. So this has some tension on it, okay? And as I'm pulling, I'm still pulling it, I'm twisting the bow. You don't want to twist the wire, you want to twist the bow. All right, I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut my tails off. Now this one right here is the one that I said I needed to fold down. You just fold that down, and I'm going to cut my other tail. On these little black ones, I'm just going to cut it at an angle. Just like that. And there we go. We have our bow. Now, we're going to put our bow in. And I'm going to put my bow right here. Trying to figure out exactly. Yeah, I'm going to put my bow right here. So I'm going to go through the Deco mesh if I have to, but I don't think I have to. And I am going to attach it to the wire frame. I am attaching it to the upper ring. And I'm going to twist it. about an inch out. Now you can come in here and adjust your loops. Let me cut this one. It's a little too long. There we go. This one right here is a little too long too. So we're going to cut that down. Okay. Let me get you pulled up, sorry. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to let you see close up what the bow looks like. And there is the bow. Okay? It's a little offset, which is what I like. So, we've got our bow on. Now we're going to add some greenery and some florals. Okay? So the first greenery that I have is this greenery right here. It's a fern, and what I like about this is it has a yellow tint to it. It will go really well with the yellow in this wreath. It's not a bright yellow, like I said. It's a kind of a mustardy colored green or yellow tipped fern. So we're going to add some of this. Let me get this stuff cleaned up real quick. We're probably going to add some ribbon tails to this, so I don't want to put this up completely. But I'll probably end up adding some ribbon tails at the end. All right, here we go. This is not a pusher, so I need to break this down, and I just had one of these come off, which is fine, no problem. You just glue it back on there. But, so I'm going to cut these down and I'll show you. There is nothing I enjoy more than making a deco mesh wreath and then adding florals and greenery to it. Okay, so if you can see, there are sections of this fern right here. So for example, I could come in here and cut this right here. Okay, there's one piece. There's a bigger piece if I wanted to use the bigger piece. So I'm going to go through here real quick, and if I can cut some down, that's what I'm going to do. This one ended up being smaller. So I put my smaller pieces out with smaller pieces, and then I put my bigger pieces together as well. The bigger pieces, if I need to, I can certainly cut down later. This is a smaller one because it only has two. This is a smaller one also. And then I have a bigger one. Okay. Now let's go in and let's start adding some greenery. Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Now you always want to kind of take your greenery and shape it to where you give it some life. Okay, you just kind of bend it to, you know, have some life. Okay, here we go. Now I'm just going to start adding greenery. I want this greenery throughout the wreath. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my twist tie. So each area where the twist tie is, you can wrap a little hole around it. All right, you make a little hole, and then you can stick this inside that little hole. Hang on one second. Let me see something. Yes, I'm good to go. All right. So we've got one, and Julie always teaches us, and that's what we teach in Wreath of the Month Club, what you do to one side, you do to the opposite side, and that helps with balance. It helps with balance, what you're doing. So what I did here, I'm going to come around here, and I'm going to make me a little ring, and I'm going to stick this greenery in the ring. And what I'm doing is I'm gluing to the actual twist tie. Okay? So I'm going to come right here. I'm going to wrap a little ring or circle around my finger. And I'm going to stick it in this hole right here. Now what I've done to this side, I'm going to do to the opposite side. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to put a ring right here. This helps make sure that it stays in place. Okay? Now I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to put one right here. Now what I've done here, I need to do over here. But let me make sure I've got that balanced. It looks really balanced. I'm going to put one more down right here because we have more greenery to add. I do want to go into the inner ring. I did all that on the outer ring. I do want to go into the inner ring and put some greenery in that. So I'm going to use a longer piece on this one because I want it to come out a little bit more right here. There we go. All right, let's see about the inner ring. Like I said, I'm just wrapping, I'm just making a little circle with one of the twist ties. I'm just like you're wrapping it around your finger. Put some right there. I'm going to put a little bit right here. Probably going to cut this one down just a little bit. Do you like a bee theme? Are you a bee or a butterfly lover? I love bees, honey bees in the summertime. Okay, I think I'm going to put a little bit right here. There we go. That looks pretty good so far. What do you think? Can y'all see? Good. All right, so I still have some greenery left if I want to use it. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to put another greenery in. Julie always teaches that it's best to use 3 greeneries if you can. And so I'm going to add a second greenery, and the reason why she teaches that is because different textures, including the greenery texture, adds interest and dimension to your wreaths. So I have some really soft fern here. It just will soften up this so much. And the greenery is beautiful. I don't know whether you can tell by the light. I have some dark green and then I have some light green, which has a yellow base to it. So we're going to add some of this. Wow, that one was... So I'm going to cut this off. There we go. And I am going to add some of this in. Now, these right here are probably going to need a pick on them. Because these are probably going to need a pick on them because the little wire in here is not strong enough. So like this one, for instance, this one right here won't hold up very much. So I'm probably going to need to put a little pick on this too. But let's get started. We're going to add a little bit in. Let's see. Let me just get a couple ready. Prepped and ready. You can use a floral pick, a wooden floral pick with these. They work just as good. But I am going to, now I am gluing to the same way I did previously. I'm making a little circle. I want a bigger one. And a darker one. And I'm gluing down into the twist ties. And then what you can also do if you need to is with these right here, you can wrap the twist tie around it. Let's keep going. You want to make sure you separate them and you bend them out a little bit, okay? I'm going to bring some right down in here. See how it just gives it some life and airiness? It's a really nice fern. Next place is, I'm going to go right here. There we go. And then one right here. And I don't know whether you've noticed, what I've been doing is I have been putting the really fine fern. So when I put my original greenery in, I did every other place. Now I'm going in and I'm filling in the hole that is between the first greenery with the second greenery. That's a little trick that you can do to ensure that your greenery goes all the way throughout the wreath. And I'm going to come up here and do this one right here. Okay. Now, one of the principles that you want to remember when you're designing your wreath is there's an invisible line that is your, that's as far out as your wreath wants to go. You can make it as far out as you want to go, but you want to make sure you stay within the dimensions of where you want your design to go, okay? And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to stay within the line, my invisible line of my dimension. Now this is going to have to be cut down a little bit. All right, so I got the outer edge done. Let me pull you in a little bit and let you see it. There we go. And I want to get some smaller pieces and put on the inner, in the inner area. I need a little right here and a little over here. Right there and a little right here. I want to put a little right here. There we go. Now, let me step away for just a second, just to look, give it a little look. Oh yeah, that's very airy, springy. I don't particularly, I need to change this one, which is okay to do. This one's a little too long. So I'm going to cut this one down just a little bit. There we go. That's better. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add some florals. There is a lot of green and yellow in here, and I want to use some white to break up the color. I still have a little bit of fern left if I need to use some fern. But the next thing we're going to add are some of these white snowballs, which will be really pretty. Okay, I don't need much, so I'm going to cut goodness gracious, I'm going to cut the middle stem off. My goodness. There we go. And I am just going to, let me cut this down. I am just going to add these in randomly. I love, love, love the greenery on this. So this is going to be considered my third greenery. And I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to place these snowballs in some really pretty places. And I have cut off one of the leaves, but don't throw those away. You can always use them. So let me see. This corner right here is calling to me for some reason, but I don't want to cover up the bee. So maybe I'll put it right here. So remember, what you do to one side, you want to make sure you do to the other. And I'm not putting a whole lot of these in. These are accents, but they're so pretty. Such pretty accents. There we go. Okay, I'm going to put another one right over here. Now, I don't want to get into a square, okay? I don't want to do that, so I want to make sure I stay away from the square side of things. I might put it right there. You know, I'm always of the rule of odd. I like more odds than evens. And I might just cut one more off and use that as well. This is where this one needs to go, right here. And by putting this one in here, this right here is going to help me figure out the next place, because I want to make sure that I'm balanced. There we go. Now, what I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do this one. I'm going to put it right here. Now, so much nicer. All right, I think I am going to use one or two more to distribute it throughout the wreath. I need something right here that's white. You want to make sure that you distribute your color throughout your wreath. I think that's going to be really pretty right there. And I'm going to put one more maybe up here. I like this one in the back. So we're going to put this one in the back. All right. Love that. Okay, now we need to put some filler in. And we'll bring you in and let you see it. Okay, now we're going to put some filler in. I could put these right here in. These are very pretty. The greeneries match for sure. You can also go with ranunculus. I might put some of that in. This is a brighter ranunculus though. It doesn't quite match the yellow in it. But I could put some of that in. You can always put some daisies in, which I really like these. I think I might add a couple of these. And then we also have some filler right here. And that would be pretty too. So let me add a couple of little daisies in real quick. Okay, I do not care for the leaves on these, so I am taking these off. These are pushers. You can push them up or you can bring them down. And what you want to do is you want to make sure you bend them to where they look like they've got some life to them. Right? Sorry. Just like that. And I'm going to come in and add some of these. I'm going to put some right here. What you do to one side, you're going to do to the other, though. We're going to bring some of these down, and I'm going to put some right here. Well, if I could get it in there better. There you go. Yeah, these are really pretty. I just don't care for the greenery that's on it. So you can always take that off. Put some back here. Come over here, put some right up in here. Need to bring some over here, and right here. Well, make sure you bend it. Give it some life. It needs some life. Trying to get this one back on there. There you go. I love the cluster of these. I really like the cluster daisies. I think they are very pretty together when you cluster them. I am sticking this in the hole that I turned around. Remember, I'm gluing to the twist ties. Okay, I think I need. Well, let me put a bit on this. Let's see. Yeah, I'll put some right up here. you want to make sure that your greenery is behind your florals. Okay? Your greenery is always behind your florals. Okay, last but not least, I have one more little filler. I think that's good for right now. I have one more filler that will put the finishing touches on it. And I either have this right here, which is really pretty. It's got a lot of texture in it. Put some of that in. It's almost a pale yellow, but it also is kind of a pale green. We have that. And then, or I have some of these white florals, and that just really adds to the airiness of it. I think I'm going to go with these because these match. Let's just see. Let me cut some of these down. These match the snowballs, which I like a whole lot. This definitely will add some airiness and movement to the design. Let's just see. I'm not quite sure I like that. I changed my mind, which is okay. Let's try some of this. It's okay to change your mind, even if you've been doing this a long time. Every design I've ever made is different. No two designs come out the same. How about you? Yeah, this looks good. Let's add a little bit this in. I've got a hole right here and I want to fill it. Oh, so pretty. So very, very pretty. I don't know if you can tell. Let me pull you in a little bit more. What I did to one side, I do to the other. Come down here and put some of this right here. Couple more places. I'm just cutting this down. I'm just cutting this down into little smaller pieces. Where I feel like there needs to be a little bit more color, where I can see only greenery, that's where I'm going to put it. It's not much. See, I have a little bit of greenery right here, so I'm going to put some right here. I'm just filling in. Kitty girl, you gotta be quiet. Okay, one more piece. It's really bugging me. I think I want it right there. Now, what you want to do is, I think I'm finished, girls and guys. I just want to make sure that all my ribbon tails are the way they're supposed to be. Let me make sure they're fixed right. Everybody's standing up, kind of standing to attention. Okay. Let me do this for you. There we go. There it is, the Be Kind wreath. I always like mine at an angle, so that's the way it's going to hang, right like that. And I could fiddle with ribbon tails all day. I don't know about you all, but I love to adjust ribbon and ribbon tails and play with ribbon and all that kind of stuff. I want to thank you for joining me today. I want to thank Julie for inviting me on to share a tutorial with you all on her Southern Charm Wreath page on YouTube. It's been an honor and a pleasure. Again, my name is Laurie Ann Cox, and I am a designer in Wreath of the Month Club that Julie Samako with Southern Charm Wreath has. We would love to see you over there. If you get an opportunity, come on in. It's a wonderful community, and we have a lot of fun. Some very talented wreath makers are in there, and we just love up on each other and enjoy each other's company and their designs. I hope you have a blessed day. Please be a blessing to someone else today, and we will see you soon. Y'all take